Hi, Big Bikes Tom here. Today I'm going to show you how to mount up tubeless tires without an air compressor.
First off, we're going to need some coffee. Second off, we're going to need some tires. Third off, we're going to need some stands, no tube sealant.
Fourth off, we're going to need a floor pump.
Fifth off, we're going to need some soapy water and a brush or a sponge. And lastly, we're going to need some more coffee.
Alright, so this is a previously mounted tire, so it may be a little bit easier. Sometimes when tires have been folded for a little while in their packaging, they don't know that they're a tire. They just think they're a flat piece of rubber and they're much harder to mount. Often it's easier to mount a new tire if you first mount it to a rim with a tube. Always line up your tire label with your valve. It's the pro thing to do. Also, during a flat fix situation during a race, it's going to be easier to find your valve. Also, when you go to the bike shop, those very friendly gentlemen behind the counter won't make fun of you. So what I'm going to do here is mount this tire, both sides, no sealant in, as a test run, just to make sure I can mount it without an air compressor. At this point, I take my sudsy water. I'm going to go around, get some suds all around the bead. It's going to help the tire bead slide into the hook on the rim. I also have a cockamamie theory that probably has no basis in actual fact, that the bubbles from the soap actually form a sort of temporary seal, allowing the tire to lock into place. But it's sort of a placebo thing, and sometimes that can work. Alright, so the first move here, I got one hand on the pump, one hand right at the valve, and I'm going to start off bouncing. It's going to bounce the bead of the tire into the hook of the rim. That's especially important right at the valve, and I'm getting a lock here. I can feel it. It's solid. I'm going to give it a few good pumps to make sure it pops into place. Sometimes those pops can be absolutely terrifying. But unless you're using a compressor at a bike shop and jacking it up to 90 psi, 100 psi, you're probably not going to blow the thing off the rim. Probably. Okay, so that's good enough. So at this point, I'm going to deflate the tire again. Alright, now what I'm going to do here is just open up a small portion of the bead. Just enough so I can pour some sealant in. Now you can remove the valve core and inject the stand sealant in that way. I usually get away with this method, so it's what I do. The handlebar of your bike works as a great place to hang the tire while you pour in the sealant. One important thing with the sealant is it's got these little particles in it or something. As per the instructions on the Stand's No Tube website, I am shaking the stand sealant upside down and then pausing briefly before pouring. I'm just going to squirt some in here. Okay, that's not working at all. There we go. Oh, that looks like, oh, well, that looks like plenty. Since I'm not a bike race, I'm just going to pour the entire thing in. More sealy power. At this point, you have a big puddle of sealant at the bottom of the tire, so you want to start at the top, start getting the bead on, and then you're going to rotate the big puddle down to where it's actually sealed. And in a perfect world, the tire will now mount, once again, with the sealant inside. I said, in a perfect world. Alright, we're re-soaping you. We gotta get those magic sealing bubbles going. Sometimes it helps if you pull the bead into place manually. Oh, I think we're getting it. It's always a good feeling. We have seal. That is the sound of victory. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm visually inspecting with my hand to make sure we got an even bead all the way around the tire. You can see that there's this little line here. You want to make sure that that is showing all the way around. Otherwise, when you spin it, you're going to get a big wobble, a big lump in your tire. Alright, so I've probably jacked this thing up to about 50 psi. I'm going to drop it back down to whatever, 30. I'll probably run them at 22. If you're not down with the tubeless thing, get on it, kid. Here's another important part of the stand's sealing system. You want to shake, you don't want to just do this. So what that's doing is just keeping the sealant around the outer edge of the tire. You want to seal up the sidewalls. This is not a tubeless specific tire. This Max is Ardent. So the sidewall is porous. Air can escape through the sidewall. This is meant to be used with tubes. So you need to seal that by rocking sideways. This is the stand's rock. Sloshing the sealant up along the sidewalls, making sure the entire inside of the tire casing is coated. I put enough in there, there should be plenty left over to seal any punctures I might get. Alright, kid, and that is how you mount a tire tubelessly sans air compressor.